News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. And there's your closing bell for this Friday on Wall Street, where traders got the signal from Fed Chair Jay Powell that they'd been looking for, sending the Dow soaring. We're going to get into all of that shortly. First, we want to check those closing numbers. We bring them to you each day here at Bloomberg. Big gains across the board. Plenty of green on the screen. The S&P 500 gained 97 points, just missing a record. NASDAQ gained 396 points. The Dow gained 846 points. That set a new record for the Dow. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.25% and the 2-year yield at 3.69%. And here's what caused that jump in the markets. Fed Chair Jay Powell in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, signaling that the Fed is open to cutting rates. He just didn't say when.
Nonetheless, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance.
Still, Powell made it clear the Fed adjusts rates based on data and that they have to be flexible depending on that data.
Monetary policy is not on a preset course. FOMC members will make these decisions based solely on their assessment of the data and its implications for the economic outlook and the balance of risks. We will never deviate from that approach.
Former Fed Vice Chair Richard Clarida says the Fed will not take its eye off the ball, no matter how much pressure it feels from the White House.
We're in an environment where Fed independence is under scrutiny, and my conviction is that the Fed's is going to keep doing its job.
Former Fed Vice Chair Richard Clarida on Bloomberg Television. Former St. Louis Fed President James Bullard tells Bloomberg that Powell leaned into the most recent labor report while leaving the door open for a rate cut as soon as next month.
He used the speech to solidify expectations for 25 basis points in September. I was expecting that anyway. Markets were expecting that.
Former St. Louis Fed President James Bullard on Bloomberg Surveillance. President Trump says Intel has agreed to giving the U.S. government a 10% equity stake in the chip maker.
I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner. He agreed, and they've agreed to do it, and I think it's a great deal for them, and I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up giving us $10 billion.
Intel shares gained 5.5% in regular trading. Apple is in early discussions with Google to explore building a custom AI model using Google Gemini to power a revamped version of the Siri voice assistant. The possible partnership is part of an effort to catch up in generative AI, with Apple weighing in whether to use internal models or move to a partner. Apple shares gained 1.3% and Alphabet shares gained 3.2% in the regular session. Canada will remove retaliatory tariffs on U.S. products that comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. The tariffs will be lifted on a broad range of U.S.-made consumer products, but Canada will keep 25% import taxes on U.S. steel and aluminum, as well as tariffs on U.S. cars and trucks. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the move is meant to prepare for the review of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement and to lower tensions with the White House. A federal judge has ordered immigration authorities to stop bringing detainees to the Alligator Alcatraz facility and to dismantle that facility, citing a lack of environmental review. U.S. District Court Judge Kathleen Williams in Miami gave the Trump administration 60 days to wind down the facility and dismantle it. Round 2 of the Tour Championship is underway at East Lake in Atlanta. At last check, Russell Henley and Tommy Fleetwood are tied at the top of the leaderboard at 13 under par. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. This is Bloomberg.